If you have the option, do choose the partner wisely. Because I think that having a alignment in terms of financial mentality, right, and needs and wants are very important. You need to know whether both of you can gel to strive to the end goal.
Can I ask a bit more about the practical steps of evaluating him?
I ask a lot of questions and I know how to probe. Make sure that they're not lying, right? Because sometimes people can say very nice things to you. It's a lot. I like to ask probing questions and I ask different questions. So it becomes very clear to me.
How do you feel? Pass eh?
Happy,
Happy,
still happy, you know. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Great. Welcome back to Chills with TFC. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And today we are on another episode of Fire Fast Track, all your favorite fire stories. correct, right?
Yes. I like fire stories.
Yes, everyone loves it, right? And one of our listeners have thrown her name into the fire to share with us her story. So I'm very happy to be in studio with the duo from Playful Daily, Nicole and Ed. Yes, thank you. Thanks for throwing yourself. I think in her mind, it's like, recently not a lot of fire stories, right? So
Yeah, because you say it's running thin already, right?
it cannot say that. We are open to more fire stories. So if you have an interesting fire story, please come hello@thefinancialcoconut.com. We will look at the story and if we love it, we'll have you on. But yeah, very happy to have the two of you. Yeah, but you know why, right? Very hard to get fire stories, right? Because people that fire all too chill. They don't really want to do
stress,
much.
right?
They don't want to stress. They don't want to do the whole thing. Now, not everybody will be like you guys. Travel, still film video. Awkwardly
we're
sit
very
down
busy,
there.
actually.
Right, the two of you.
Retirement is not boring.
Yeah. So very happy to be here. Maybe for our audience that don't quite know you yet, maybe you could introduce yourself.
Well, basically, we are a Singaporean couple in our early 50s. I say I can claim early 50s now because I'm going to be turning 54 this year.
Awesome.
But right now, early 50s.
I'm still early 50s.
Yeah. Are you like high rocks?
Well, we have done high rock.
Okay.
We have done high rocks.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So we have been married for about 20 years and we are Singaporean born and bred. We have been actually retired for about 4 years already. What we, I guess, spend our time doing is traveling. We travel quite a bit actually. Probably about 120 days out of the year, we are probably overseas.
Yeah, we like to do big trips like 1 month.
It's true, there are times very hard to book. So at first we had the original time. Then I was like, sorry, I need to change. Then we need to change quite a while later. So yeah. Okay.
We also like to focus on health and fitness because I think it goes hand in hand with aging. And finally, a lot of time is spent on our YouTube channel. As you say, it's called Playful Daily because we like to play every day. We document our travels, what we like to eat, where we like to go, some of our fitness exploits. Like you mentioned, we did high rock, so we film our training as well as the race. And basically, it serves as a reminder to us when we look back later in the years.
And we also have retirement advice because we learn things during our retirement years. So it's something that we want to share with people because we feel that it is information that is valuable. And from our experience, maybe we can also help some people as they plan for their retirement.
Okay, great. So, I mean, that's essentially where you are today, right? But the backstory is you guys kind of started this whole journey 20 years ago in your 30s, right? So, how did this thing come about? Back then, was it still called fire? Or how did you come to this like awakening moment?
Well, I think even in our youth, right, we have never been the kind of YOLO generation, right? We're the more conservative. We still have our share of luxuries and travel. We are always, mindful about saving and controlling of expenses.
We believe that we should enjoy our life, but at the same time, we should not be extravagant. We live well, but we are mindful about expenses and knowing that, some things are of better value to us. For instance, experiences. Those are the things that we tend to focus on. And we don't spend a lot on material needs. So that's the difference in that sense. So in terms of financial mentality, we are both very aligned. So that's where we started. But before that, I would say that I started financial planning first, like for my retirement. And then after that, I experienced all the various crashes, the Asian financial crisis, the SARS outbreak. So, and various things were happening during that time, like 1 year after another. So very soon I realized that, job is not a guarantee. And then I have to be financially independent because I depend on myself. I don't have the family wealth to support me in that sense, right? So I have to make sure that if the time comes and I have to stop work because of crisis, then I have to be financially independent. So that's when I started thinking like, I must plan for retirement and to plan for my money. But of course, we are not, at that point, I'm not thinking like I want to retire now.
Not early
Yeah,
retirement. It was
not early
just focus on,
retirement.
retirement at the usual age. So when we got married in our mid-30s, then we just, invested as a household after that.
Okay. Before we go there, right? So, what were your careers, right? Give me some context. Yeah, what were you doing such that you were so worried, like, wow, financial outbreak, SARS. I said, I better start to manage this thing. What were you doing professionally?
I was in the payments industry. So at the initial stage, I was working in banks. So there's financial crisis and everything. It hit us pretty badly. And so we were in the somewhat similar industry.
Yeah, I mean, financial services, and we met in the same company. So that's
In the
how.
bank.
Yeah,
Quite
in the
cute
bank,
quite
right.
cute.
Yeah. Because you spend so much time in the office, right? So yeah, that's a natural place to find your better half.
But in the 90s, right, like when you had this awakening moment to try to like manage your finances better, then where do you learn and like how do you
Yeah, so during that time, information was very difficult to find. You don't have internet, no Google, nothing to check how to invest, how to do anything. So I was pretty much at a loss. But I knew one thing, like in terms of how much I want to target as a retirement passive income, uh, I benchmark it against at that time, my salary. So I wasn't spending 100%, obviously, but I was enjoying my life. I had a pretty good life. And I just benchmark like 70 to 80% of what I was earning at that point
how
would
much
be
was
my
What
that?
you're
benchmark.
spending?
Yeah, how much was that?
Okay, so to put it this way, my benchmark at that time, I put it as 8,000 would be my target for my monthly passive income. So that was what I felt because, as I said, I didn't spend 100% and I wasn't even spending 80%. And I know that there's going to be inflation because at that point, you know that prices are always going to increase. If I benchmark it to what I spend now, it would be quite silly. So that's why I put it at that amount. So that amount stuck with me. Every time I meet financial advisors, I will always say, this is the amount that I want to have. Yeah, so that's how I came up with my number. Yeah, but at that point, information on how to retire is very limited. Even when I ask like RMs, relationship managers, they have no clue. Really, they have no clue, So
They
I
only
was,
manage the relation,
yeah. So I mean, they were quite silly. At the point, they tell me, if you think that you want to retire with $4 million, then you just invest 4 million. Then I was like, okay. Then I move on, right, to
Yeah.
the next person. So it's like, it's hard.
So in retrospect, right, did you benchmark too high?
No, it's actually
Well,
just
based on
right.
the lifestyle we wanted to live, we set the target and we achieved it earlier than we thought we would. Right? That's why we initially was retirement at 65, 60, whatever was the retirement age. And as we, reached about mid-40s, we felt that, okay, we were getting a bit tired of the rat race. We were thinking, maybe it's time we can, we have so many things we want to do. And as we grow older, we see some of our friends, their health is like not that great. Right. So if we felt that if we retire at 60 plus, we don't have a lot of time to do what we want to do. So that's when early retirement, came into our mind and said, okay, maybe that is something that we should strive for.
Okay, for context, no kids, right?
No kids.
No kids.
Yeah. Okay. This is the point a lot of people drop off, right? But hold your horses. Hold your horses. There are a lot of wisdom. Okay, it's not just about kids, no kids, like no kids easy. That's what the internet always says, right? No kids, you just fire very easily, but actually there's a lot more because if you heard that, right, 8,000 is the basis. So collectively they spend 5-figure a month, right? So then you work back the numbers, actually it's still quite a big number for a working professional to accumulate. So I think that part of the discussion is worth your time. So stay, hold your horses. Yeah. So maybe give me a bit more thoughts around that whole building exercise, right? Like, okay, how do y'all do this together and build your finance?
So we are pretty risk adverse. We are not the people who want to gamble our money or want to buy stocks and then hope that it will grow. So we look at our portfolio like, as something that we want to manage it on a conservative level. We have segmented it into like 50% of conservative products. That will include your insurance savings plan, your annuities, your government bonds, as well as properties. So that will be the safe investment. And the other 35%, we have things that are medium risk. That will be your unit trust, your corporate bonds, and I think that would be it.
Yeah.
And then the 15% will be actually equities and structured notes. So that's where we put things like, we are willing to risk a bit,
Yeah.
but it's not going to hurt us that much.
There's a backstory here.
Yeah, we haven't had very good experiences with structured notes. That's why we are
And
holding.
stocks,
Yeah, that's why you're holding things like Baba, even Credit Suisse.
So that's not your talent.
Not our
Yeah.
talent.
So we put it as a very small base. We wanted to just try and risk it, but it's not going to be such a big hole that we'll feel very upset about it.
So how do you then arrive on this so-called formula of yours? Because it's already been many years. So like how did that evolve? Then how do you arrive at, okay, this is the way we do it?
I think for us, we've always felt that the best way to make money is still our jobs. We don't have a very sexy investment strategy that you are suddenly 20x or suddenly 10x kind of thing. It's all about.
I mean, he bought Credit Suisse and Baba. Sorry. Okay. No, this is not financial advice.
I think we focus a lot of time in our work, and investment was more like safe strategy, low risk, not that high returns, but still sufficient enough to grow our wealth and fortunately hit our targets.
Okay. Any thoughts on that? The investment part?
I think it is also a lot on finding out what are the options available. So actually, I have a lot of relationships with banks, and the banks are the ones that give me the advice, right? But of course, I don't take advice just as it is. I do a lot of research, and through the research, you understand like what fit your needs most. Because we are not totally no, we are risk averse lah, but we are not totally so risk averse that we just want a 2%, 3% kind of growth scenario. So we also take some steps ahead to make sure that our portfolio averages around the percentage that we are happy to be with, which is about 6%.
So since you say that you have a lot of relationship managers, you talk to different people, you have heard all these, you can call them wisdom, you can call them sales speech.
It's always sales speech.
you call them whatever, right? In retrospect, what are some truths? What are some perennial truths that they have shared with you?
Well, when I had very good RMs, right, they are really good. And I was actually very happy because they started me off, right, on the journey of insurance. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people think that insurance is not sexy, insurance is low value and whatever not, right? But her advice to us at the point, and we were just starting out, was that, no, these are the base level, they are pretty safe and stuff. And that was actually earlier on in our lifetime when the insurance payout was very high. It was like the point of 5.25%. That was the bonus that they were giving. So accumulate over like decades is actually a lot of money in that sense. Yeah. So I think that was very good advice. And when we have good advice from these people, then of course we are more open to buy more products from them. There are some that are more aggressive. Then we will just watch and see whether we are willing to take the risk. So it's a lot of understanding about what the product is, and also doing some research ourselves, of course. I do have some people who advise me because they are pretty
Some trusted
wise.
advisors.
Yeah, they're trusted
Then what do you
advice.
think about this
Yeah.
fund or whatever? Then they will tell us.
Yeah, so yeah, I have to do a bit of research lah. But it's also having to make the decision to do it, because I know that some people just get the information, but they're scared. They're scared to do it. Like some of my friends, they just refuse to
Make the move.
make the move.
Yeah.
Yeah, you procrastinate, and then in the end, the money is still the same.
Yeah. So how do you then pull the trigger, right? I mean, like, how do you decide that, okay, we're gonna because 5 point something, it's a hindsight 2020, right? I mean, it's just like Alibaba, it's hindsight 2020, right?
Yeah.
Right. So like maybe because everybody says do your own research, right? Yeah, I get it, right? But it's like a catch-all phrase, right? Everybody also say they do their research, right? But maybe just kind of shed some light for our audience, like how do you then decide that, okay, this is something that I will go with?
We diversify. So we diversify by markets, by products, by sectors. So we look at each product, we are not willing to invest more than a certain amount. So if you lose it, right, you're going to lose that amount. Okay, you're not going to lose your entire amount of money, which is why equities is small. Even if we lose it, we just write off and say that's fine. You know what I mean? So it is about not putting everything into one. diversifying it such that at the end of the day we can sleep better.
So, and there's something about how in the early days, the advice, because since you talk to so many people, I want to hear this, right? The advice is always, when you're younger, you accumulate, right? Be a bit more aggressive, you accumulate. Then somehow there's a miracle period that you can start drawdown, right? You reach a point, it's like, okay, I want to retire, I want to start drawing down, right? Is that what happened for you guys? Or like, yeah,
Well,
how did
after
that?
retirement, I think that it has to be a change in mindset lah. So we do have I guess, a so-called strategy or guiding framework on how we want to spend our money. One, of course, is to switch from a growth to a consumption sort of a mindset. We want to, of course, ensure that we have enough to cover our lifespan, and we want to pass on with as close to zero as possible.
Oh, die with zero, huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
okay.
hard lah, but we
Everybody
try
read the
lah.
same books, is it? No, no.
I read that book, he
So,
didn't.
you never. She's the one deciding.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it makes
He's the
sense,
one
ah.
enjoying. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense because no children, things like that. So you tend to want to enjoy what you have worked so hard for lah. So we so-called segment our retirement in 3 buckets, from 50 to 65, which is our peak energy years, where we're going to do more traveling, more rough traveling, and we're funding all that through our passive income, right? Not touching our principal. But let's say if during this period there is something that we really want to do and we can only do it now because we are young and healthy, we might even liquidate some non-revenue generating assets, like some equity, right? Then from 65 to 80, which is, I guess, where a lot of our more income will come in as we hit CPF life. Some of our annuities earlier on, when we didn't think of retiring early, would mature at the 65 age. So that will also boost our income at that point. Travel, probably a bit harder to rough it out. So a bit more luxurious travel, so that
So we have to spend more.
I got to spend more on travel, right?
Cannot carry backpack anymore.
Yeah.
Let's have,
Sometimes
someone.
you push a big luggage on a cobblestone street in Europe up a hill. Wow,
Wow,
shag, I tell you.
Okay, I get it. So then, there's also this school of thought of like this like retirement with like 1,065,000, right? With like the CPF thing. Because you guys went through the process of CPF changing its policy drastically, right? There was a period of time there's no such thing as CPF Life, there's no annuity, you yourself, you settle, right? And then after that came this annuity program of CPF Life, then you essentially trying to manage the longevity risk, right? Today's episode not brought to you by CPF. I would love to, but how did that kind of then weave into your retirement, planning process? How important is that to you?
When we planned for retirement, CPF was never part of the calculation. At that time when we were young, CPF was a bit more complicated, and we didn't understand how it worked, and we didn't think that it was going to contribute much. So when we buy annuities, it was like CPF Life like that. So it was going to mature in our 60s. We're going to get a lump sum for the rest of our life.
I mean, we're happy with the change to a CPF Life model because we are familiar with that. And I think the returns are better than what we can get ourselves, So
Best annuity in town.
Precisely. So we're so happy when so we hope that, whatever happens to Singapore government, don't change the CPF Life,
very hard to change already. Yeah, one way in. Yeah, okay, fair. So you, in retrospect today, if you were to plan your finances, that would be an important bit because it works for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's really going to help our income during that phase. But I think during that phase, we also look at some of our assets to see whether we want to draw down as well. The last phase, of course, is 80 onwards. That's where we probably will not really be traveling. Medical costs will go up. So that's where we have to look at, elder care facilities, things like that. We do have children to look after us. So the preparation is going to be on hopefully at that point of time, with the aging population in Singapore, there'll be a lot more options available for elder care. And we have our insurance covered, but just have to prepare for the things that are not covered by insurance.
Yeah. Based on your current projections, right? Like, what are you modeling for elder care? Just so I get some, numbers and thoughts around this, right?
I mean, we are hoping to go for the private care, right,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, of course.
So
What are the options? I mean, like
the
based on
options
what
are
you
quite
are.
expensive now, but I have not really done thorough research because we're not
You still got
exactly at that
30
stage.
years.
Yeah.
Still got
Yeah,
30
things will
years.
change by then,
Yeah,
right?
so
yeah.
but we look at I mean, it will be definitely Singapore based. We're not going to go Malaysia and stay in a home and not know what happened to ourselves. So, I mean, it's just something that we have to do research in the next years, lah.
Fair. No, I love the drawdown framework that you've thought through, right? Like because it brings in the realities of living as compared to how a lot of mathematical model essentially does not take into consideration the ability of an individual. It's just a numbers, But when you bring this in, it's like, oh, okay, so there is a frame to think of, the retirement aspects of life, lah, right? So that is great. And also great that they don't have a very sophisticated investment strategy, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
shows variance, right? Not
Yeah.
everybody is the 20xer or
Yeah,
multi-bagger,
we can't do the equities.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think more than just being financially ready, a lot of people are not really mentally ready as well for retirement. Because when I ask my friends, right, if they don't have to go to work today and nothing will happen to their job, they'll get paid, right? Will you not go to work? They'll say, I would rather go to work. And some of them will ask me, you retire for 4 years, are you bored? So maybe their idea of retirement is boredom, right? So I think what we also try to do, whenever we do content is also to share our experiences of how not only financially you get ready, but also mentally. I think we transitioned into retirement pretty easily. Firstly, we felt that we had so many things we wanted to do rather than
We
work
have
for
a
someone
whole
else.
list of things.
Yeah.
And the list keep getting longer, is it?
Yeah, it does,
As your
Yeah,
corporate
yeah.
career goes
Yeah.
along. Wow, 这个 boss, I want to travel this. Wow, that one, wow, stupid client. I want to do.
Yeah, so having a clear idea of what you want to do in your retirement is very important. We have our YouTube channel where we document our lives.
And they travel to a lot of places. You should go and watch the channel. It's quite interesting.
Every time we go, we have to bring camera, things and then mics and everything, which is like very irritating, but it's okay. It's part of the fun.
It's part of the fun of documenting it because we remember what we ate after that, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a lot of memories that we remember.
Do you watch your own videos?
Yes, I do.
I think everyone does, right?
For instance, like we just went to KL and I did a KL video about 2-3 years ago. I wanted to see what did I eat then? Is it worth repeating? So it's actually something that I like to refresh my mind.
Okay, good. It's the digital way of the family table.
Yeah,
with all the
yeah.
pictures, everything now is on YouTube.
Yeah, so that was one of our big passion projects. We always say that you need to have maybe 3-4 passion projects before you retire. And that was one of them. And of course, we have always been pretty active in our lives. We used to run a lot, marathons and things like that. Of course, I'm more retired from running. She's still running.
I still have a marathon dream.
Because you were talking about the transition to the fire life, right? Can you also kind of shed some light, like before you transition? Because it did sound like there was a lot of annoyance that was getting built up, in the original like corporate life at a later stage. So there's a lot of push factors to like push you out into this fire element.
For me, not so much of a push factor.
So you were still happy with your...
The company I worked for was a good company, good management, good leaders. But I guess because my job...
Sure not?
That's me.
He's PC, right?
He's very PC, but I have worked in that company before. I do agree that there is certain amount of positiveness in it. Better than a lot of other companies that I've been. When I started work, I enjoyed my work. I love what I was doing. I love it so much that I even wrote poems about working. I really enjoyed it. So it was fun. I had fun with my job.
I've never met a person that write poem
Yeah,
about their
I love it.
jobs.
I can still remember I was walking in Shanghai because I work in Shanghai. So I was like, wow, bored, right? Cold. Then I was thinking, then I think about a poem about how I feel.
In Mandarin.
No, like it was
No, it's like,
English.
okay.
I can't write Chinese poem. So I really enjoyed it. But I realized that as you grow older, your salary increase, your work tends to become less fun. You do work that you don't really like. And it's more about managing expectations, managing how people feel about you, managing perception. I mean, yeah, that's very important. But I really like to do the work more than I like to manage certain things. So a lot of the current corporate world is all about LinkedIn posting. All the plastic stuff are not things that I can do. I really hate it. So it gets onto my nerves so much that I wanted to get out of it. I can't self-praise and I don't like to
It's
praise.
okay, you can put your poem there.
Yeah, I can put my poem there.
Eh,
Everyone
bao
will
jiao
just
ah, everybody will like, wow, Nicole.
yeah, it's like I can't stand such things. So it got onto my nerves and I felt that it just defeats the purpose of work, in my opinion. It's just about whoever can praise yourself the best wins the race. So it's not something that I enjoy, and therefore it makes me want to like just do something else because we were having a lot more fun out of work, doing our things, traveling, exercise, and everything else. So it seems like that is just more natural for us.
Was there a ramp up? Because it did sound like this transition is very natural, right? So
Well, she retired a few years before me, just at the start
COVID.
of COVID. So I continued to work through COVID. Of course, I witnessed her like,
happier, is it? Then you'd be like,
unfortunately, COVID lah, so she had to
Stay at home.
stay at home a lot lah. But I think even in retirement, if you retire alone and your spouse is not retired, the quality of retirement is impacted lah.
Okay, can you elaborate? Can you share?
I mean, when I was retired, he's not, obviously he has to do the work, right? And in COVID period, because he was just working at home, then I just have to wait for him to finish work. And it can be tiring because I can't go out. I just have to do whatever I can do at that time. I can't even go out and exercise for the earlier part of COVID.
I picked up cycling during COVID so that I don't need to wear masks.
A lot of
You
people
know?
became sudden runners and
Suddenly,
exercisers.
So you can move from one supermarket to the next thing without a
Yeah.
mask. But sorry.
Yeah, so I felt that, he has to retire quickly. But I do understand that at that point, if he were to retire and both of us are stuck, there's no point. So we just say that, hey, why don't we just put a time frame that he retire by 50? So we say that as a time, that's the best time. And fortunately, that was also a time when COVID restrictions were lifted and we were able to just get out.
Okay. And how did it feel? Because you liked your job. Of course, there were a lot more push factors for her.
Well, at
know?
that point of time, I think there were a lot of changes in my organization as well. So it was a good time to depart lah.
Okay. So if let's say there was a promotion, because this is the time, late 40s, most of the people will move up the apex, If let's
No,
say they
actually,
thrive
late
in
40s, no already.
the
I think
career.
40s
Yeah,
is
but
the
40s,
point,
right? Yeah. So that's like kind of like if you are chosen to be the leadership, you kind of like move up.
My company was a bit different lah. You must post for the job. You must choose to go for that job, post for the job, and interview for the job.
Nobody will promote you, Anna. You have to promote yourself.
Everyone in that company has to do that kind of thing.
But it doesn't matter because time is like, really ticking. We have to just grab the opportunity. We are able to retire. If we just wait one more year, what's the point? It's like, is there a point?
And of course, even if I wanted to get promoted and applied for a job, it would be quite bad if I just get the job and then say I'm going to retire, right? So also wasn't the right thing to do. So yeah, I just I think it felt at that point right lah.
Okay, fair. So how did that early phase of that transition to fire life look like?
So we were, as usual, conservative, right? So we don't immediately go out and play and stuff. We do UAT, which is user acceptance testing.
Girl is good at her job lah. She just don't like the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, in my previous job, I do a lot of UATs.
Yeah.
So what we do is, when we want to travel, we say we want to do 1 month, okay? And based in a city, we chose the first one to be something familiar. We chose Bangkok. Because we've been to Bangkok, we love the food, we like the place, it felt safe. So we went to Bangkok and did our 1 month.
See whether we can tahan staying away for 1 month. And I think it was a good experience. We did tasted a lot of food and we changed our impression of even Thai food. Yeah, but we got a better understanding of the city, how people live there, and we felt it's something that we can do and something that we enjoy. So that is
So then after that, we went 2 months. So we stayed in Japan for 2 months. We felt, wow, we can enjoy this. But then we realized, right, on the UAT experiment, 2 months is the max. Because you know what? The house cannot accept being empty for too long.
In what sense?
The house will break down.
somehow things
The
happen.
house
I don't
will-
know. Termites will come in your cupboards and things. Because if the termites sense like movement in the house, If the house is still, the air don't move for a significant amount of time, right?
They come out and
They
play.
come out and play.
Yes.
Really?
So that's why we do UAT, right?
That's what the exterminators tell us lah. So oh
Serious?
shit, man.
You must sign
Okay.
subscription with the exterminator.
It's very expensive, just to do one time. Yeah. So then, after a few experiment, we know what we like to do in long travel. So we say, okay, in 1 year we must have at least like maybe 3 types of long travel. We will stay in one city for 1 month. Then that's where we actually like live like a local. Go there, have a gym
You join a
membership.
gym for a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then just sit at the park, go picnic, everything. Just enjoy this city, just do that. Then the other one would be, because now we are still healthy and strong, right? Do a more xiong one, which is like maybe the next one that we're going to do will be like Italy. Slightly more than a month, go around Italy with a backpack and, trolley bag and everything. Of course, we're not going to stay in a youth hostel because we are old already.
We're
We
done
cannot
with
do
the
that.
youth
We can't do
hostel,
that. We
guys.
can't do that. Yeah,
Even
but
I'm done with the youth
yeah,
hostel.
unfortunately cannot.
Private room in the youth hostel, okay lah.
Cannot. There is a certain level already. Cannot
Cannot.
already. Now cannot already. Yeah.
That's why it's Chubby fire lah. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So that's another type of travel that we will do. And the third one is where we will put in time on our passion sport, which is skiing. So we do 1 month at a place to ski. And ski in various resorts, like ski more than 10 days, maybe between 10 to 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. So that will be what we do. We have done that previously since COVID in Japan. So, Japan has a lot of ski resorts, several hundreds, and we have done close to 30 so far in all our travels in Japan. So I think it's something that we enjoy to discover like ski resorts around the world. And next year we will be going to another ski resort, ski destination for a month. So those are the things that we discovered that okay we can do, and that's why we had the initial UAT to understand like where can we go, what do we like, and everything
Yeah,
else.
we even started cruising, and at first we were worried we're going to take a transatlantic cruise for 2 weeks. We get stuck on a boat for 2 weeks. Can we tahan or not? Fortunately, can.
We love it.
Yeah.
What's so fun about it?
It's
Because
so
there's a whole category of retiring on cruises.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like there's a
yeah.
whole segment there, right? But how is it like?
We love the cruise lifestyle. I mean, you wake up, you can go to the gym so easily, right? And the gym in the ship was open 24 hours. That's even better. And then after that, you can have all your meals there. You don't have to think about it. I'm a big planner for trips. I plan everything very detailed, and
We
I
are
plan a
not
lot.
traveling together. You sound like a scary person
No,
to
you will
travel.
love
You
traveling
don't even
with
have to
me.
think about
You don't have to
anything.
think.
Really?
You will get the best
I just
food, best
follow, huh?
experience.
All the
Yeah.
restaurant reservations will be made even before you arrive in the
See?
country.
Everything. And then I will plan your fun, everything. Yeah. So I mean, I love it because I don't have to be so stressed, right? So everything, entertainment is there. I don't have to think about it. Then there are, of course, shore excursions that we can go for, and everything is more chill. I really enjoyed it. And the people were very nice, very fun. We did transatlantic, so it was an international crowd.
Yeah, people sitting beside you will just talk to you, share their life and their stories, so you can get to know people from different countries. So that was pretty nice. I think because everyone is there for a purpose, and they like the cruise lifestyle, and I guess talking to people, at your dining table is something that they always do. They put people that you don't know at your dining table, so you just start talking, and then you just make new, I guess, acquaintances.
Yeah, so with this cruise experience, we realized we love cruising so much. We started booking cruises. So now I have on the pipeline, by the end of next year, we will have done 9 cruises.
Okay. Then we'll get you on the show to then talk about the cruise
Cruise.
comparison lifestyle, right? Okay. Oh my goodness, interesting. So it's been 4 years, right? Retirement, preparing for it, and then trying all these different things, right? What kind of wisdom have you derived from the way of life of, fire or maximizing your retirement? What are some wisdom to share?
Well, I mean, travel may not be for everybody. Not everyone loves to travel a lot. You have to find your own passion. So have 3 or 4 passion projects. They don't have to be travel. We did exercise because we have always exercised. We even Skills Future. we became certified personal trainers and sports nutritionists.
Drop
And
the email here.
If you want services, me too lah.
but we don't do it for money. You can actually volunteer your time, right? So, you can give back to the community. We do PT for some organization for
physically
physically or
disabled.
mentally
Yeah.
disabled people. We've done that. We haven't been there for a while because we've been traveling, but we want to go back again. So you can do things like that. We have our YouTube channel. Yeah, so you have to find your personal passion project, be it learn a musical instrument. But I think community is important, especially if you're retiring alone. You should try and participate in things that have a community with people that can motivate you to continue with whatever that is. So yeah, I have 3 or 4 passion projects. For us also, when we retired, it was an easy transition because we were not too attached to our jobs. A lot of people's identity is tied to their job title, or their high expertise in whatever field they are in. And, transitioning from Mr. Tan, the CEO or CFO, to Mr. Tan, the retiree, can be quite, challenging for some people.
Detrimental.
Yeah, suddenly I don't know who I am.
Suddenly
I
I'm
don't know what I'm doing.
Some old
nobody.
person.
Yeah.
Just some
Lao Nang
retiree.
downstairs, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we are very happy to be retirees. Yeah, we are happy to tell people we are retired.
I can tell.
Yeah.
And that's great, right? Like you can't. I mean, that's the story of FIRE, right? Like you work hard, you invest, you build your money. Eventually you want to live a good life,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So that's the big. Yeah. Any wisdom from your end?
Well, I think play is very important. Play is always part of our life because we feel that when you play, you would be challenged mentally, creatively, and you should always incorporate that into your daily life. So when you think about what are the passion projects, it's good to find something that you feel stimulates you in that way, that incorporates some form of play. Otherwise, you also feel like a bit bored after a while, if you were to just try your best to find something to do, but yet it still doesn't incorporate anything that is playful to you, then you will be a bit bored.
Any thoughts on like self-actualization kind of thing? Because it's like you keep traveling to different place, you consume, you have fun, you do all sorts of stuff. But every day you keep just having fun and
Well,
doing
we do set
things.
certain targets.
Yeah.
One of which was High Rocks that you mentioned. We wanted to be on the podium.
Serious?
Yeah, not just participate, we wanted to win a flag.
Okay.
We wanted a flag.
It's a thing. It's catching fire. Yes.
Yeah. And fortunately, in our age group, it's not as hard as if
For the
you were
younger
younger
ones,
ones. So we did our own training plan. We watched videos on what's the best way to do what exercises. We executed the plan and then we went and we tried it lah. So the first time wasn't that great. We missed our target because I had cramps. So we tried it again. we went to Beijing for the second one. And yeah, we came in third lah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So the other target that I have is also fitness related, right? Which is a marathon. I have a marathon target time that I hope to achieve. As I mentioned, right, it gets harder with age. So if I don't do it in the next 5 years, it's going to be very hard. So those are targets that I hope to achieve as part of a self-actualization. Yeah, it's just like something that I've done before.
This story feels very good. Feels like what a lot of people would like to have. Like you've done your grind. You come from nothing. You build your wealth, build your grind, and then you get to a point where you can live the life that you love, right? So knowing what you know today, also post retirement and all the wisdom, what will you tell your younger self, or what will you tell the younger self today, right? Like people in their 30s that they listen to this and like, yeah, I also want to fire, right? Like, what are some things? Because in the world of FIRE, there's all sorts of advice
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, not financial advice, but everybody have their own thoughts about how to do this, right? Like, so what would you tell?
I would tell them not to think about retiring too early.
So 50 is a good age, lah.
I think late 40s to 50s is a good age. You shouldn't retire in your 60s, but don't retire too early. The reason is because we went through a process of growing up, right? You work in the office, you learn some skills, and then you develop your career. You learn more things through interaction, building career further, gives you more knowledge and soft skill and hard skills that you would not have otherwise gotten if you just fire quite quickly. And those experiences are very hard to come by if you were to stop working. And we went through childhood, slogging, going through backpack travel. Those are very valuable experiences. I love it. when I think about it, those are my happy years because, the experiences of going through backpacking Europe, backpacking US is very different than when you travel there in luxury. Yeah, so you need to go through a certain process to be able to appreciate life. We went through hardship in some ways so that we understand what we like, what we don't like. And at the same time, because of that, we set certain goals and benchmarks. So I feel that my advice to people is live through the life. Don't retire too early. Not in your early 30s, not in your mid 30s, but consider that for your 40s, mid to late 40s. And by 50s, do consider it. Yeah.
Yeah, faster consider it your fifth.
Yeah, and you must understand that career-wise, right, the growth is always stronger for people, most people in your mid-30s to early 40s. So if you were to retire earlier, then you miss out on that growth. You miss out on the advancement in terms of your salary as well. So that would be a waste. Don't retire too early. That's how I feel.
No,
Yeah.
fair, very good.
Well, for myself, it's not really something that will change, but something that I see, well, that could be controversial. People always say, you should, pursue your career in somewhere you are passionate about, things that you enjoy doing. But I don't think we've always followed that. And I think it's probably the right move. Go where you can earn the most money. Because in the end, my advice is you earn the most money and then you use that money to do what you like to do. And I think that's how we got to where we are. Really focus on, I guess, what you're good at so you can drive growth in the industry and then drive your income and therefore the chance to retire earlier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it essentially makes up for your lack of ability to invest, right?
Yeah.
Because either way, you got to pick up.
Yeah.
The formula is there. Work smart, invest, retire well, right? You either got to do very well in the career, the work smart part, or you got to be like pretty good in your investments, right? So then you kind of make up for it. Yeah.
And I think the other advice that I have for younger people is if you have the option, do choose the partner wisely. Because I think that having a alignment in terms of financial mentality, right, and needs and wants are very important. You need to know whether both of you can gel to strive to the end goal. Because imagine if you marry someone that is very much interested in just spending and not saving for the future, then it's going to be just one party doing the work. So I think having a certain similarity in terms of financial
Financial
outlook,
mindset.
yeah, for a couple is pretty important.
So how do you evaluate him?
I
Because you had
evaluated
an
him,
awakening
yes.
much earlier, right?
I did evaluate
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
yes.
So I want to understand, right? Because from the story, essentially you've thought of this much earlier,
Yeah.
right? And then eventually when you all got married, you built this strategy together. But with that awakening, how do you evaluate your partner?
I was always very clear that the partner that I'm going to have, right, is not going to be a partner that will drag me down in that sense. It has to be someone that I can trust financially and that is aligned to how I perceive we should spend money. You cannot be too conservative, too frugal. Then I will feel very uncomfortable because if I can't eat what I like to eat, because I really like to eat good food. So if I have to save on that, then I cannot take it. But it must be at the same time that you cannot be so extravagant. So when I look at the potential partners, right?
The
that
pool of
The pool of people. You were the chosen one, okay?
he was the chosen one.
But yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So I had to evaluate on that. And honestly, right, to put it into perspective, even the parents' background does matter because it's not about whether they are rich or poor, but whether it will eventually become your liability. So I think having a very clear mindset in terms of how the people surrounding you, your choices will affect you financially is very important to me.
Can I ask a bit more about the practical steps of evaluating? like, at which date you started
No, I
asking
ask a
or
lot
like
of
how?
questions. My personality.
Is it from the start
A bit
already?
of
Ask
an
already?
interview like that.
Yeah.
No, they don't feel
There's
it
a
one.
form.
Fortunately, they don't feel it.
Okay.
So I ask a lot of questions and I know how to probe. So it's a matter of asking the questions that you can probe right.
Is there some advice on
I
this?
think you asked me where I see myself in 5 years.
No, I don't think so.
On the second day.
That's like a interview. No.
Yeah.
It's different. It's just like, you have to understand and then you have to make sure that they're not lying, right? Because sometimes people can say very nice things to you.
Of course.
Then
You must back
you
test.
must always check and make sure that, the lies are captured. So it's a lot. I like to ask probing questions and
love
I
it.
ask different questions. So it becomes very clear to me. And you are able to capture all these things. And to be honest with you, at the beginning, I didn't want to get married because I didn't think that I will find the right partner. Because partnership to me is very important. If I don't find the right partner, sorry, I'd rather be alone. So I told him from the start, I asked him from the start, is marriage important to you? Because it's not important to me. And he said that it is. So I had to evaluate him based on that.
Red flag one.
Yeah.
Put in observation bucket. Must see first.
Yeah, so I have to evaluate. Yeah, but he passed, and after 20 over years, I know what, it's good.
Great, great. Good advice. Good advice. How do you feel? Pass eh?
Happy, I'm
Happy,
still happy,
you know.
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Great, great, great. So maybe in closing, right, just to give us some context, based on because it sounds very exciting, and I see the YouTube channels like, wow, these people are really traveling, and all these places, right? Is there some like ballpark number of like on average how much you spend a month?
We don't track travel expense that way. So we know how much we need to spend in terms of the essentials, the bills that we have to pay, and the frills, which is your dining and shopping and whatever not. So that
I
one we
love
are
how that's
quite very aware.
essentials. Dining, shopping is part essentials, right?
So we know how much we need to spend. Then we look at our income, passive income, and based on that, we know how much we can spend on travel. So travel is just out of this, yeah.
So on average, is there a ballpark that you work towards?
There's no ballpark, but we are taking quite a lot of big trips, so they are not cheap.
Okay, fair. I think in their video you can go and watch. There's one video, the Chubby fire.
Yeah.
right. And
Types
then
of
you,
fire,
types
levels
of
of
fire.
fire.
Then you can get a sense, it's in the probably 3-4 m type of space. Right. Okay. Thank you. Is there any last things you would like to share with the audience? I think it was great.
Yeah, nothing really else. Just watch our YouTube.
Yeah, like,
watch
share,
and subscribe to our
subscribe,
YouTube channel,
yeah.
Playful Daily.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I hope you have a great next trip. And I hope you continue to stay in touch, do more stuff, hope that have you on other different platforms that we do. Yeah, it's very
Thanks,
fun.
Reggie. Thanks a
Very
lot.
good stuff. Okay, so I hope you enjoy, today's episode. I think they are the first couple that is chubby fire lah. Right. And then on the podcast, right? Like to openly talk about it. And I mean, it's not just on the podcast, they openly show it on their YouTube channel. You should go and watch it. I think it's pretty inspiring. I think especially for a lot of the working professionals, which essentially you guys were working professionals, right? Like the emulation aspects of it. So I hope you find today's episode interesting and intriguing and found some good dating advice. So with that, thank you for tuning in. If you love what we do, head to thefinancialcoconut.com to put your email address so that we can reach out to you whenever we have an event or another new launch. So yeah, that's all. I hope to see you in the next episode of Choose with TFC. Meanwhile, take care. Bye-bye.